There's nobody that's ever developed anything great in this world that haven't had that self-reflection, because it starts within. And as I said, the only way out is in. So you got to go in first before you can even do anything on the outside.
Welcome to the Golden Group Strategic Growth Podcast, featuring expert insights, interviews with thought leaders, and business plan triage. Hosted by Kyle Golding, award-winning entrepreneur, CEO, and Chief Strategic Idealist for the Golden Group.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Strategic Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Golding. I'm joined today by Sean Akadiri.
Yes, sir.
He is the CEO and president and founder of AgBoost, which is an amazing, awesome thing that we're going to talk about today in agricultural biometrics.
Yes.
And from the great state of Oklahoma, we love agriculture.
Absolutely.
And the future is all about data and biometrics. And so Sean is bringing these two things together. So before we talk about AgBoost, let's talk about you a little bit. Let people know, give a little introduction to you, who you are.
Okay, so my name is Sean Akadiri, originally from Nigeria. I came here when I was 19, over 5 years ago, to go to college. They know why I came to Oklahoma, but I think faith. I believe in the universe, so I think faith just grabbed me here and came here not knowing how to survive or whatnot, but, from there, study at University of Oklahoma, East Central University for my first undergrad, then graduated, moved to the city, went back to OU, studied chemical engineering, got my MBA, then worked with different life science company here in Oklahoma City and different biotech companies as well. Then that was opportunity to do something different, had a vision about, using data, genetics, and how to interface that and communicate that properly, especially in the ag world, which was different for me because that's not my thing, right? But because of the science angle, but also because of the way that I feel like, it's very important to really create value with science, but the problem is a lot of people don't know how to do it, right? So the opportunity came to use DNA and understanding DNA and really how to communicate that, especially in the livestock industry. And I'm in Oklahoma. It just makes sense to dive into the cattle industry. So bringing science, bringing technology, and putting it in the hands of cattle producers. And we've been doing it for over 10 years now. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. But it's been a journey. Hopefully we can talk a little bit about that. But I'm excited, especially in this day and age now where you talk about data, you talk about AI, and also, different use cases and how, we can help increase not only food production, but also quality and also, understanding traceability. A lot of people don't even know where their food is coming from or how the food or steak get on the table. So it's just for me is bigger than just the technologies, helping people create an opportunity. And also with the industry that I'm in, which is a generational industry, how do they take that blueprint and continue to move it on to the next generation? So it's an exciting thing for me. I think it gets me up every morning. I tell people I was born to do this, right? Because
there's no better feeling than that,
yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's just exciting overall, and I'm excited to be here. And thank you for having me, man.
For sure.
Appreciate that.
And I love hearing from entrepreneurs who have passion for what they do, no matter what it is. And it's even more interesting when it wasn't planned, but the universe just took you in a direction, and now that you're here, you love it.
I love it. Absolutely.
That's awesome. So the company is AgBoost, the leading genetics testing and herd management platform.
Yes.
Now, that sounds like a pure technology play. We were talking about all the other stuff that comes into it, right? Yeah. So explain to someone who maybe isn't in the cattle industry, maybe just someone who's just thinking about business, what AgBoost is and kind of how a cattle producer uses this
Absolutely.
tool.
Absolutely. So in a simple way, I like to say we're the 23andMe of the livestock industry.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Yes. So one of the things that we've done is in the cattle industry, specifically, there are two main categories. You have the seed stock and you have the commercial cow calves. Currently, the way they make all of this selective breeding decision is most producers, they just guess, right? There's no tool.
They just look at it.
They just look at it.
That's a good looking cow.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, they use some certain data, but there's no way for them to really understand how to actually make concrete decisions. There's no tool. And in the world that we have, I don't know if people know this, but 80 to 90% of people that produce our food are small and mid-sized producers.
Right.
Only the 10% are the big guys.
Was it, if I heard, 1% of the or 2% of the population feeds
Yes,
the rest of the population?
Pretty much. And for me, it was a little bit, it took me back, because when I look at the cattle industry and I look at the space, and just looking at how important that space is, and how the industry is going to continue to grow, because, more population, people's going to have, there's more demand for protein. You can make an argument that, some people don't eat meat or whatever, but I don't think
that's still a really small minority
exactly.
of people, right?
You know what I mean? So looking at it and like, hey, this technology is huge, because within 6 weeks, you can determine the value of your animal, whether to sell it, whether to keep it. You can communicate that value to your buyers, right? And you have a guaranteed return on investment when you select an animal for your breeding program, right? If you're guessing, the chances is very, very slim. Right.
And guessing is always bad for
exactly.
business.
And especially in the industry that is very marginal, like they operate on a very small margin, right?
They can't afford to miss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it just makes sense. Like, one, the science is there, but they haven't really figured out a way to make it accessible and put it in the hands of the producer to interface the data coming through so that they can make their decision. So I saw the opportunity, but I was, I'm not in this space. There was a lot of ads, right? Because I'm not a cattle guy. I don't know anything about that industry. So it was a learning curve for me. But I believe in the science, and I believe in the technology, and everything that is happening right now, I saw that 10 years ago. So we're in the data age, we're in the AI age, whatever. That was 10 years ago. I had envisioned it. But, starting was very difficult. But now, things is really blowing up. We manage, the largest six-star producer in the U.S., in North America. They sell about 5,000 bulls a year.
Wow.
Right? So that's huge. The license of tech, they've actually invested $500,000 in the technology, right? And the license of tech. And from there, the technology has been growing organically. We not only work with the largest, but also the small mid-sized producers. So we've streamlined the whole process where you go on our website, it's just a click of a button. You can onboard within, a couple of minutes, sign up for your account, click a button, just like you're ordering anything online. You get your kits, you take your samples, send it to the lab. When the data comes back, then that's where AgBoost comes in. Then we give you insight that it to be able to interface. And a lot of producers that are actually using our technology every year have seen an increase, 10% increase every time they sell their animals. So our analytics is becoming the norm in the industry, where people now are saying, I need my animal to be AgBoost tested before they buy it, right? So now,
seal of approval, right?
Exactly. I mean, there's bunch of testimonies. So now it's just a no-brainer for anybody. So from you wanting to bring in the bull that will improve your genetics, from you choosing the replacement efforts that every year is going to continue to give you quality calves with quality productivity, whatever, and for you also to be able to interface what you have and communicate that value to your buyers, AgBoost does that for you. So we're not only a breeding tool, but we're also a marketing tool. So a lot of producers are now using our analytics judiciously to be able to market and communicate the value of their animal. And the cool thing about that is, as they, creating physical product that is quality, that cattle, but also just understanding the blueprint and the data set that they also creating. The more they test their animal, the more value they have. And that data is huge because now it's transferable. Right, to the next generation. You're creating a blueprint, right? So now, again, that was 10 years ago. Now, everything that you do, you have to have information behind it. You have to have data behind it. And a lot of people talk about AI, but AI is not functionable without data.
It can only wade through data that you input to it, right?
Exactly. So it's exciting times, man, and it's been a journey. I'm not sugarcoating anything. You got to be mentally ready to be on this journey. But it's exciting, man, and the cool thing is the technology is agnostic, so it's not just for cattle. There's opportunity to also use the tool for another breeding tool for other livestock, even companion animals, even if you're raising horses or whatnot.
Right.
As long as you can generate data from the platform, from your animals, you can use the tech to make decisions.
Because genetics has been a huge factor in racehorses for a long time, right?
Absolutely.
Like, when you're watching the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness, they talk about bloodlines and who sired who, and I think the Preakness, there were several animals that their mother or father was in the race previously, 5, 10, 20 years ago, right? So a lot of people are investing large sums of money in those animals based on the DNA.
So the way I actually got into it was there was a project I was doing for whitetail deer, right? So I'm like, wow, people are paying millions of dollars for their genetics because they breed this on the ranch for hunting, right? And people go pay $15,000-$20,000 just to go hunt whatever. But for me, I was like, well, the science is huge. It's amazing. Right. DNA, whatever. But how do you really use that, right? That's what we come in to interface that and create value for the people that actually need it. They're not scientists. They're just ranchers. They want to save time, energy, money. Right.
It needs to be simple too.
It's very, very easy to use, right? So it's a perfect fit. So yes, it's an exciting time for us, man.
So let's talk about that journey a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you have some advantages. You are in cattle country, and some access to partners and producers.
Absolutely.
But you're also introducing high tech to what's traditionally been a low tech industry.
Yes.
And when you're talking about small and medium sized producers, they're very traditional. They don't really like change very much.
Yes.
They might even recognize the value, but the change process is hard. And they're not necessarily like on social media, out there like on Instagram looking for how to raise the cattle better, right? So what's been some of the things that have been an advantage for you that kind of worked out maybe easier than you thought, and what were some things that were harder and hurdles that you had to get over to go from this idea to what you're doing today?
Yeah. So 10 years ago when I found AgBoost 2013, right? And I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I didn't know anything about starting a company. It was just an idea, right? And I'm not a cattle person. You know what I mean? I don't know any ranch or nothing. So for me, it was very challenging. But, as difficult as it was very exciting to me because I think anything that you want to do, if it's not challenging, it's not worth doing.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
If it was easy, someone would have already done it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was a challenge. But also now I understood that I had to actually become a student, not only understanding I understand the science, how it's going to work, but the industry that I'm going to serve.
Right.
And if you look at the cattle industry, it's a very cultured industry, right? I mean, this is a generational industry. Right. So, if I'm an outsider. So if you really have to come into that space, you really have to get engaged, not only with the people that you sell into, but also understanding that pain point, understanding that culture, understanding everything. So for me, that was very challenging in the beginning. But after a while, and again, in the entrepreneur space, back in the days, we didn't have no accelerator. We didn't have
That's true. 10 years ago, we didn't have that.
That's
true.
So just developing relationship and network that will help, because if you're building anything, you can't do it by yourself, right? So all of that was those challenges. But as challenging that was, it was rewarding because it was a learning curve for me. And I tell people, I said, one of the things that you have to understand about building something is really understanding yourself.
100%.
You know what I mean? You can't build anything on the outside if you don't build anything on the inside. Yes. So it was really not me building the company. It was also me finding out about who I am, about myself, what I'm about, really building myself. And all of that, after that, then it was transformative. And, before you know it, one thing led to another, and here we are.
Embracing that concept right there is the difference between someone who starts a business and an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Entrepreneurs understand it's a process.
It's a process.
And going through it, the ups and downs, but it all builds onto what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
In a bigger picture.
Absolutely. So what really excites me is when I see my customers, right? Because this was something that I imagined. I was reading something that said, you build things 2 times. You build it in your mind, then also you build it on the outside, right? What they're doing right now, the way the cattle producers are using our analytics and our technology, was something like that and envision. But how do I communicate? How do I bring that on the outside? Right. The whole journey was very exciting. So when I see cattle producers that are using the tech right now, it just does something for me. Like, wow. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. But also, for me, it's not about, just the physical thing, the money, the ROI, all of that. It's bigger than that. It's understanding, the power that you have within you and how you can really make a difference in the world. That's for me, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
So 2013 was a different landscape in business than 2024.
Yes.
Less incubators, less investors, less places to go and sort of ask questions and learn things. So who were some early partners? Who were some people that helped you out for coming from the desert and get going?
You know what's so funny, though? I used to work in a company that was upstairs, I2E, right? I was upstairs. I2E was downstairs, right? That was their CEO. Because I like fashion. When people dress very well, I like to,
If you guys are only listening to the audio podcast, you're not seeing my man's fit right now. If you're watching a video, you see he looks more like a fashion model than a cattle farmer.
So there was this. That CEO comes in because we go in the elevator. I was like, hey, what I like you. What do you do? I work in IT. I was like, what's I2E? I didn't know anything about it. He said, they help investors, whatever. I mean, they investment. They help businesses and all of that. I was like, okay, cool. So so when I actually had that idea, I didn't know anybody but I2E.
There you
right?
go.
So I had my cardboard and a piece of paper. I just walked in there and I was like, I need help, whatever. First person I talked to was Rick. And Rick was like, hey, if you're gonna do this for real, you gotta do this for real. That was 10 years ago. So that was how the journey just started, right? And it's crazy, right? But yeah, that played a major role into me just understanding, businesses as a whole, who your customer is, your market research, understanding your target audience. Just the whole basic concept that I didn't even think about. My mind was I just have an idea.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But that was all the things that I actually needed to understand to actually even make that idea even possible or feasible at all. So all the feasibility studies, all of that, they equipped me with that. So that's how everything just started from. So those are my early, help, investors and insiders that kind of gave me the tool to move forward, right? So I can not take that from them, what I mean? And that was back in the days when the old heads were still there, right? But now, is the younger generation. So it's exciting to see that. But also that was, I also communicate because just to also learn the culture, Oklahoma Farm Bureau played a huge role, just helping as well, giving me insight and, doing some studies with me, putting me in front of that producers that really, helping me understanding the pain point, taking a bunch of surveys. I was back in the days where we were taking surveys on a piece of paper and all of that. Just put me out there in front of that producers. So Oklahoma Cattlemen Association was also huge as well. Just giving me the whole blueprint into the world of cattle. Yeah. Right. So so those are my early, help that really propelled me. Just send the foundation. Then from there, we would just continue to build forward. Yeah.
We talked a lot about passion. We talked a lot about drive, entrepreneurial mindset. But when you're going through it, sometimes it gets a little dark. Sometimes you get a little frustrated. Did you hit some walls where you thought this isn't going to happen?
I hit a lot of walls, man. The hardest thing is the mental part. A lot of entrepreneurs come here, they just want to tell you the good things, whatever. But
make it sexy.
Being an entrepreneur is very dark.
Yeah.
You got to understand who you are first. You got to understand why you're doing this, because that's very important. But also you have to have the vision of how what you're doing is going to impact the world, right? And you have to have a lot of patience, right? It's a roller coaster.
Yes.
So if you're doing it just because you want the money, you're not going to be successful. You know what I mean? So it's ups and downs. But understanding how to balance those emotions is very, very important. So that's why I tell people, you cannot do anything at all if you really don't look into yourself and say, hey, how do I really understand who I am? What are my skill set? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Right? And how do I really, how am I able to put all of that together that will set me up for the journey on the outside? There's nobody that's ever developed anything great in this world that haven't have that self-reflection, because it starts within. And as I said, the only way out is in. So you got to go in first before you can even do anything on the outside.
And when you go on the outside, you have to be able to ask for help.
That's it.
Right?
That's it. Because you can, so one thing about the universe is you have to operate within the frequency. You have to get that frequency so that you can attract the people that will help you take your dream to the next level. Nobody builds anything on their own. It's highly impossible.
Yes.
But the way to really get to the people that you need to get to is really understanding who you are, because then you can transfer that energy and you can attract them, you can communicate your vision. You know, they call something mastermind. You know what I mean? So for me, understanding what mastermind is, how do I, as myself, communicate my vision to different mindset, right, in a more harmonious way, right, that we are able to execute in a more formal way or more organized way a vision, right? That's what they call mastermind. So if you, as an entrepreneur, you have to have that skill set. Yeah. You have to be able to bring different minds together. You have to be able to communicate your vision, because you cannot do it by themselves. And you have to have enough patience, and you have to have that personality that manage all of that for the greater good. So it's not AgBoost is never about me at all. I mean, take me out of this. It's bigger than me. So if you have a vision that is not bigger than you, right, you know, you find something else.
You haven't pushed hard enough.
Absolutely. Right. So yeah, so you know, having that personality, developing that personality, again, it starts with understanding who you are. Because if you don't do the work on the inside, you can't communicate what you're trying to do to people that will help you and take your dream to the next level.
I often say on this podcast, the worst thing that can happen is overnight success. Because you haven't built it, you haven't gone through that, you haven't developed yourself.
Absolutely.
And sometimes easy money comes means easy money goes, right?
Quickly.
So you have to go through the process.
Yeah, you have to. That's not. I mean, you have to, man. And, you know, a lot of people like, you know, when you go to the tech right now, it's just a click of a button, everything is just happens like it's magic.
Cow magic. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
No, but it's a lot of processes on the back end. Yeah. You know what I mean? Again, is your mindset has to be on point. You know what I mean? Your mindset has to be on point. You have to have a lot of help around you. It's a lot of tools that you can use, right? You have to build your mind, your body, and your soul. Everything has to be connected, right? And if you don't have those tools, it's easy for you to fall apart. Because entrepreneurship today, you up, tomorrow you down, right? Today you up, tomorrow is a roller coaster.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Even people that are managing multi-billion-dollar companies, right? They still have challenges every single day. So, but that's what keeps you alive, right? That's what gets you up in the morning, right?
And that's what teaches you lessons.
Exactly. Yes. You know, you want to embrace those challenges. There's no mountain that is too big as a person that you don't know that you have the power within you to overcome that, right? Everything might appear that is impossible, but you know, when you go inside it, once you really settle down and understand, okay, how do I tackle this, right? What do I need to do? And not panic. It's just like magic, man. Everything will just start flowing through. Yes, it takes time. Anything that is worth building. I mean, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right, for
you
sure.
know what I mean? So everything, it takes time. You know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. You focus, you control what you can control as a person. You know, what can I control? What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? Which research do I need to make? Do I need to get on a computer? You know what I mean? All of that, you control what you can control. Right. Then let the universe control the rest. Because when I started, I didn't know anybody. It was just a phone call. I called so many people just trying to articulate what I'm trying to do. Whether they understand or not, just before you know it, there's one person just say, okay, you know what? I'm interested.
Yeah.
You know, then from one person to the next. So you're only one person away from the person that you need to meet.
And it's the one yes to the 99 no's,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Like you have to go through the 99 to get to the one.
Absolutely. So it's a lot of commitment. There's a lot of discipline.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of self-reflection. There's a lot of discipline. There's a lot of commitment. There's a lot of things that you really have to understand. And, you know, developing yourself as a skill, knowing how to communicate what you're trying to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Having that self-confidence is very important. And all of that doesn't happen if you don't put in the work. You know what I mean? So that's what it is.
See, you guys right now know exactly why I wanted Sean on the show. Like this is amazing insight, commitment to it. You're living it. You're not just talking it. You're walking the walk.
Absolutely.
I'm curious how you're going to push this into the future. You know, right before we started recording, I met your team. We called them your team. Some beautiful young ladies.
Yeah. Those are my girls.
Yeah, right. I'm sure that's your motivation, your inspiration. How do you talk to them about being successful and going after things they have passion for?
You know what's so funny though? You know, a lot of people don't really know about me. So when I started the company 11 years ago, I had one child. My wife was pregnant with the second one, And within that years, I've had 4 kids. A lot of people don't know I have 4 kids. So not only I was building a company.
There's a lot of people that also say you look 25.
Well,
They're like,
thank you.
wait, how does someone who looks 25 have 4 kids?
I know, right? My oldest is actually it's going to be 17. So I you know, not only was I building the company, but also I was building a family as well. So there has to be a balance, you know. So what I tell my kids is, hey, first of all, you gotta have a passion for something. You gotta know what you want, but also, you know, you really have to understand that it's gonna take you time. So patience is very, very important. But one of the things is, for me as a person, is when I leave, when I die, the idea I wanted to continue to live forward. You know, houses, money, all of that. Nobody gives a damn about that. Excuse my language.
Come and
Nobody
go.
cares, right?
Yeah, they come and go.
But the idea of excellence, the idea of hard work, the idea of understanding that, you know, if you stay committed, the door is going to be opening up for you. And whatever you want to do, right, you know, is possible if you really believe in yourself and you really do the work, right? And understanding the power that you have within you, right? And understanding that the only limitations is the limitations you put on yourself.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot of illusion out there, right? That, oh, you can't do this just because you this and this. I'm from Nigeria. I came to America with $200, right? I didn't even know how I was going to even, first of all, graduate college, right? But it was just that awesome mentality. My last semester out of school, I almost got kicked out of college. My professor paid my school fees so I could graduate. And she told me, at the time, I didn't even know I was going to be an entrepreneur. And she said, hey, I want you to pay it forward. So when I'm talking about AgBoost, it's not just me, that's my way of showcasing to anybody, any kids, wherever your background, who you are, whatever, you can do anything, anywhere, no matter who you are, right? That's, to me, that's the idea, and that's the mindset that I input in my kids. And I understand them too, that, hey, you in America, this is the greatest country in the world.
There you go.
Right? And this is a country that a lot of people are trying to get to. So the fact that you are even here, I told my kids, the fact that you guys are here, you guys shouldn't even ask me for no Christmas present. Forever. You know what I mean? Just the fact that you have the opportunity to be in the greatest country in the world, that, you know, some people have the skills, they have the dream, but they're not in the right place. You're in a place that whatever you dream, if you put in hard work, if you stay consistent, you stay committed, you can be it. You can be anything. So this is the greatest place in the world. So, you know, I tell people, like, hey, you know, I tell my kids, the world is yours, man. You know what I mean? You are the one that is going to determine how far you want to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes, everybody comes from different background, different, you know, some people might have more opportunity. Life doesn't deal you equal cards. But whatever it gives you, right, is the reason why it's giving you. Because the world is not going to give you, the universe is not going to give you, put in front of you what you cannot handle. Right? So if the universe is putting that in front of you, there's a reason why. And just believe you have the power to overcome it. Right? And stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Right? Just stay in your lane, stay locked in, stay focused. Your success is on your own time, not on anybody else's time. Nobody dictate your success.
Absolutely.
It's on your own time.
Absolutely.
So that's it.
So 11 years in
with
AgBoost.
Yes.
So what does the next 5 and 10 years look like for AgBoost?
Yeah, so the next 5 and 10 years for AgBoost is, you know, for me, is how do we now scale it up to other livestock, right?
Okay.
Not just cattle, right? And I mean, it's very exciting where we at, because now I think after COVID, everybody really, the trajectory of understanding of technology and a paradigm shift for everybody in the world, and understanding, hey, technology is not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So you really have to be in or start playing catch up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So so it's exciting, and now we're in the, you know, AI age, right? So everything is really moving fast, right? And we literally had to start 10 years ago to be where we are today. Because if I was starting AgBoost, this time in this age, I would be far, far behind, right? There's a reason why we started 10 years ago, and the reason why. So the next 5 years is exciting. There's a lot of opportunities, but for me, I'm not even worried about the next 5 years. I'm worried about today, the next day, because
Right.
I like to stay present in everything I do, right? So, just taking it each and every day for me is exciting. Yes, we have a strategy and understanding on what we need to do in the next 5 years, but if we don't control today, we can't control the next 5 years.
True.
So, yeah.
I predict great things.
Absolutely.
For the next 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 years
Absolutely.
for AgBoost and for you as well.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you being on the podcast today. Sean Akadiri, the founder of AgBoost. Man, I appreciate this conversation.
Thank you
with
very
today.
much, Kyle.
I loved every bit of it, man.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, you guys. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We still have plenty of other guests coming up in the future. You don't want to miss out.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Golden Group Strategic Growth Podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Follow the Golden Group on social media. For more information, past episodes, or to contact us, please visit thegoldengroup.com.